Hi, I'm Matt Nichols from Commercial Insider, Series 4. We've stepped out of the studio and we've moved in to our new renovated office. Today I've got Simmy Abraham, and Simmy, welcome to Commercial Insider. So Simmy, give us a bit of an elevator pitch about your business.
Thanks, Matt. Connect Plus is a property advisory and project management business. We help people, we're client side, we help people who own property maximise outcomes for their properties. Sometimes that involves building works, sometimes that involves repositioning works. We do residential and commercial properties.
And well, why don't you tell us why your involvement today with the renovation of our office?
I remember about 10 months ago you gave me a call and you said you're looking to update and refresh your offices. They were getting a bit tired, and I came over here and we had a walkthrough and a meeting, and we had a discussion about how we could sort of bring them to a new phase of life, and we'll probably talk about a little bit about what was involved in that, I guess.
Now, Simmy, I've known you for a long time, but you've also got a very good track record about repurposing buildings, and that's what we've done. We've done a repurpose of a building that was built, what do you think, in the 1970s?
Oh, this one's a bit older, I reckon, 1960s, yeah, the brick. And
yeah, the red brick, orange brick. So your background, you're quite passionate about repurposing buildings. Do you want to talk that through a little bit?
You and I, although we've known each other a long time, we worked together at the Morris Moore development down the road here, which is probably one of the premier redevelopment or repositioning projects in Melbourne. Morris Moore was the old Philip Morris factory, which, as you know, is now offices, is retail, is hospitality, is everything. And through working together on that project with various tenants coming in there, we saw the benefit of really repurposing buildings, not just going and getting a building permit and building a new building. And we saw these spaces really come to life for tenants. And we brought a lot of that, I think, into this office development as well. We didn't just chuck out everything that was here and start again. We repurposed a lot of this office.
So let's talk through some of these challenges that we had. And there are some challenges with this building. It's got some odd shapes to it from your point of view. And you were very polite before in the introduction, but I actually think I used the word help when I asked you to come in. And when we worked through this, what did you sit there and when you first looked at this and went, okay, there's some challenges here, I think I know what I've got to do? So,
Matt, I remember our first meeting here clearly. You know, you said you want to refresh and update the office. And I thought to myself, I don't know if people know what this office was used for. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what this office was used for previously. But Matt, you sat in what was the Mayor's chamber, I think.
That's correct.
The council chamber.
That's correct.
And it was a room that was lowered, you know, and it had a high vaulted ceiling. And that was your sales department. And then you had your leasing department in another room and your management department in another room. Right. And you know, you were focused on, I guess, the materiality of the building. You wanted to make sure the roof didn't leak. You wanted to make sure that there was good air, there was good light. And I think you were imagining a bit of a refresh. You know, it's 10 years since we did our last renovation. And I thought to myself, well, there's a lot we could learn about your business and understand how in 2025 the people that work here could work better. I think people know that Nichols Crowder is a generational business. I think people know that about you, but they don't know that you're an innovative business. And I've learned through knowing you how you use AI and how you gather data and so on that I don't think people know about. And for me, coming here, the thought occurred to me that of course we can freshen it up, but we can also change the way you work.
And so you brought up a really interesting point there about the walls in particular. And that's one of the things you did. You started removing walls and some of the structural, so you sorted that out. But so it wasn't just removing walls, but you actually opened it up because, as you said, I have a sales department, I had a property management department, I've got an accounts department, and there were walls. And what you've actually done is separate, and you've now got rid of those walls, and now we're a lot more connected. And that's a really key thing from the business. Because one of the things in our, and I don't know if I shared this with you, in our vision statement, one of our key starting points is people first. So what you're talking about there is a really important part that you picked on correctly, is about people first, and it's about our people. I mean, I haven't renovated this building for myself. I've renovated for the team.
That's right. And we, the architects we brought in I think they met with the people that work here, and they went through what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and how can we make the workplace better. And so a lot of thought went into all of that before we started thinking about paint colours on walls and new lighting and the like. And I think I'd encourage people to come and visit your office and see what you've done. We didn't just chuck out everything, strip it all out and start again. We looked at what we could reuse, what we could repurpose, and in fact just by repurposing the space, we had an environmental plus. And the timber floor that's underneath us is reused. You just go, oh well, they make better timber floors now, and buy a new timber floor, and all the energy that goes into making that new timber floor, we repurposed it. And I think that there is a lot to celebrate in an existing building. There's a lot of memories, there's a lot of history over here, and just ignoring that and starting again just feels like a waste to me.
Now, Simmy, we've got to talk about the roof. I was of the starting...
Your favourite subject.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because my starting point was it was rusting. I thought we're netting a new roof, and you organised a quote, I think from memory, it ended up about $150,000, and there was a few issues, and you said, no, I've got a better idea. Do you want to run past what your better idea was? And just for the listeners, we're talking a difference here. You came to me with a solution of $30,000 compared to $150,000. 5 times difference was your solution, but there's a lot more to that solution.
Yeah, Matt. Well, a roof is always made up of a number of components. It's made up of gutters, downpipes, and of course the fabric, the metal deck or the tiles or whatever it is that's in the roof. And when we had a look at this roof, it didn't need a complete refurb. We ensured that your gutters and your downpipes were working as they should. We made sure there were enough overflows so that the water that was collected on the roof could actually get off the roof. And then we discovered this project really just by being aware and looking out there for alternatives. We discovered this membrane product that, as long as you've cleaned the rust, which you can do simply by brushing the rust. It's a bit of work, but you can do it. We then laid this membrane onto the roof, which is resistant to UV and to the sun. It comes with a 7-year warranty. They tell us it'll be good for 20 years. We'll reconvene.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look at it. And we could put that money into effectively the day-to-day benefits that the staff could actually enjoy, as opposed to something that nobody's ever going to see the benefit of. There was another one you were keen to look at the time. I remember you've got 2 levels here and you don't have a lift.
Yes.
The sore point of the lift.
Yeah.
And you were quite keen to put a lift in.
I was.
And we started questioning you about that, because it sounds easy to put a lift in, but actually it involves redoing your stairs, taking out structure. It's quite a significant. The lift itself is the cheapest part of putting in a lift, and we sort of questioned you on that, because you sort of wanted to put in a lift to future-proof the building, perhaps in time, and we felt that it really wasn't, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. In other words, your building is working very well for you here, when the time comes to repurpose the building into something else, we'll find the best spot for the lift and put it in then.
Simmy, in the design here, we were pretty keen, as far as our brief is, to create collaboration areas and so on. What are your thoughts? Is this sort of typical of what you're seeing in the office space at the moment? We've created all these different areas. We've got high bench areas, we've got event areas and so on. Have we got that sort of right, and are you seeing this in the marketplace?
Yeah, Matt, I think that a lot has changed in the office space. I often get asked, well, can our offices be smaller now because more people are working from home? And I think we're seeing that offices are not getting smaller. Their layout is changing. It comes down to, there's got to be a benefit to come to the office.
Yes.
It's so easy to work from home now, and staff are talking about bosses are listening to staff and asking them, well, what's going to make a difference for you to come into the office? Because I really think collaboration is key. I think training is key. I think people working with each other is key to their personal development. So I'm obviously a great fan of people coming to the office, and certainly encourage my own staff to come to the office. So what we try to do here is we try to make sure that everybody had a very comfortable working space. We made sure that there were good bathrooms and good end-of-trip facilities. People could ride into work, have a shower, and then we created these nodes, both downstairs and upstairs, and we created them in a very multi-purpose way. You've got a magnificent room downstairs for project launches, for staff birthday parties, for staff meetings. You've got a space here that can become a function space, a lecture space. People can come from the different departments and sit together in the kitchen or sit together here. Our kitchens are not just a wall along a passage now. They almost feel like you're sitting in a cafe space, and you can actually, as you'd go to the cafe to have a meeting. Well, have it in the office, in the breakout space in the office. So I think that certainly everybody would agree offices have changed, and you've got to keep up with it.
And make yourself relevant.
That's right.
And that is to attract and also retain your team.
Definitely.
Simmy, you've now seen the finished product. Are you happy?
I'm thrilled, Matt. I'm thrilled for you.
Fantastic. I really appreciate it, Simmy. Thanks for making your time today.
Thanks very much. Thank you.